Hello there, and welcome back to another episode of Strife's Talking Points, where I try to make sense out of the world because it's literally gone insane in the last few years. Now, from Project Veritas, many of you will hopefully know or not know, I don't know, it depends on how the news cycle goes, about Project Veritas' new release on Google. Whistleblowers Welcome is kind of the title of their website. And they're out there trying to expose corruption. This is Veritas's overall mandate. Google. Machine learning fairness whistleblower goes public, says burden lifted off my soul. That's their headline. Came out today. Video. The police began looking for me. Google sent threatening letter to Google insider Zachary Voorhees. Holy crap, he's named after Jason. Sorry, hope you're a horror fan. They knew what I had done, and that letter contained several demands. Basically, Google's trying to threaten this man for releasing their information, and they go over in the story here from Project Veritas. I was trying to get this video to load. I always find it interesting to see how certain videos are restricted on certain platforms, and I was just wondering.
I've been living with this like burden.
Yeah, this is my Chrome browser, won't load it. Here is Firefox
For 3 years,
which instantly loads the same stuff. I always found that interesting. Sometimes Chrome doesn't want you to see something, or it's not loading, and then you go to a separate browser and it seems to take off just fine. It kills me. There's nothing wrong with this. I've running the same stuff I always run, and it works on one browser but not on Chrome. The internal Google documents are now available here. A Google insider who anonymously leaked internal documents to Project Veritas made a decision to go public in an on-the-record video interview. The insider, Zachary Voorhees, decided to go public after receiving a letter from Google, and after he says Google allegedly called the police to perform a wellness check on him. There's actually an image here of this, him walking towards police with his phone in the air, probably recording. I have to do some more research on that. Like I said, this is an initial... I just found out about this a little while ago myself, so I've been reading through it. One of the interesting things you always see, and I've seen on most mainstream news sites, is they'll say without evidence the president said this or that about censorship in the media. Well, recently in the media, you've seen all kinds of stories of actual censorship. You have the first Antifa killer in Dayton, Ohio, and he's being countermatched with the El Paso white supremacist shooting. I believe when something like that happens, you need to call it out. However, one of the things that's being reported more and more is how Google is skewing all the results to fit the narrative Google wants you to believe. There's lots of reports out there where you can see that Google has 70 or 75% of all the results come from left-wing sources, and as you go into different types of searches, all the information comes from left-wing, or the majority up into the 80s and 90s from left-wing sources. Now, that's the way Google wants the world to be viewed. I'm going to read a little more into the article. I gave the documents to Project Veritas. I had been collecting the documents for over a year. And the reasons why I collected these documents was because I saw something dark and nefarious going on with the company, and I realized that they were going to not only tamper with elections, but use tampering with the elections to essentially overthrow the United States. Now, we've heard all these stories about Russian meddling in our elections, in which there was, and I've done a report on it, you have to go back to my videos, where the investigation showed that no votes were changed, no information, no No votes were changed, no registers were adjusted, nothing happened. And you can even go into the Muller Report and the reports from various news organizations saying that approximately 5 million impressions were given out to these Russian clickbait accounts. All of them seem to be clickbait. They're all trying to get ad revenue, all trying to stir up the pot, rage bait, which is what we always see from most BuzzFeed, Huffington Post, Blaze TV. I'll throw them out there. A lot of those groups fund themselves on clickbait, rage bait, make you angry, get you to click on the story, get you to read the headline. That's it. That's all they gotta do is get you to the site so they can show a click and they can prove that someone came to their site, and that's how they sell advertising. Now, I don't know why I said Blaze. I think they're mostly crowdfunded by mugs and t-shirts and stuff. Anyway, but here we have it. Google, from internal documents, from the video we all should have watched last year, is actually trying to swing the election the way they want it to go. The mainstream media, again, trying to swing the election the way they want it to go. Unfair reporting, fake fact-checking, tons of stuff. Anyway, sorry, I'm on my high horse. In June of 2019, Project Veritas published internal Google documents revealing algorithmic unfairness, which Voorhees told Project Veritas these were documents that were widely available to full-time Google employees. These documents were available to every single employee within the company that was full-time. Also, and so, as a full-time employee at the company, I just searched for some keywords and these documents started to pop up. And so once I started finding one document and then started finding keywords for other documents, and I would enter that in and continue this cycle until I had a treasure trove and archive of documents that clearly spelled out the system, what they're attempting to do in very clear language. Talking about intimidation. Shortly after the report, including the algorithmic unfairness documents were published, Voorhees received a letter from Google. This is professional corporation, blah, blah, blah. We represent Google LLC, your former employer, in connection with your recent discussion with the company. This letter demands that you protect Google's confidential information and also return all Google property in your possession within 7 days, including the following 3 items in your possession Google property. 1, Google badge bearing name Zachary Voorhees. 1 G card, guess that's a Google card on area. 1 laptop, serial number, blah, blah, blah. This letter will also summarize certain of your ongoing obligations to Google and will provide instructions about how to comply with those obligations, including the return of the Google property. In addition, you must cease and desist any form or disclosure of any internal Google files you possess and provide honest answers in writing to each of the questions and demands posed in section C no later than blah, blah, blah. Now, they didn't include the full letter, just the 1 page, which is fine. Sounds like a normal company, but you know, want your badge back, want the G card, which I'm assuming is like an internal purchasing card, and his laptop, which all makes sense. And most companies do not want you to say anything bad about them unless you are actually on the far left, and then you can scream and yell and complain about everything your company does because you're protected as a far left crazy person. Think of all the times you've seen Google being attacked for not being enough into Pride Parade, and they're getting attacks on that, or maybe somewhere Google allows a conservative writer or speaker to speak and use the platform as a open place of communication, and they get attacked for that. See YouTube and all these various sites. After having been identified by an anonymous account, which Voorhees believes belongs to a Google employee, on social media as a leaker, Voorhees was approached by law enforcement at his residence in California. According to Voorhees, San Francisco police received a call from Google which promoted a wellness check. Voorhees described the incident to Project Veritas. They got inside the gate, the police, and they started banging on my door. And so the police decided they were going to call in additional forces. They called the FBI, they called in the SWAT team, and they called in a bomb squad. This is what Voorhees believes. This is a way in which Google tries to intimidate their employees that go rogue on the company. Very interesting. Also, he refers to him as the Google Snowden moment, where we actually had massive leaks coming out. And, you know, it's changed the way we think about it. Google, YouTube, all these places have been revealed consistently and continuously as these non-friendly places. These are places which are getting more and more authoritarian. They believe that their way is the only way. And what we're kind of being faced with is, how do we deal with this? Should Google only be a search engine? Should they lose their ad-based stuff? I mean, really, how do we do this? Found this part interesting. Project Veritas has released hundreds of Google internal documents leaked by Voorhees. I've got a few of these I've been reading through. Among those documents is a file called News Blacklist Site for Google Now. The document, according to Voorhees, is a blacklist which restricts certain websites from appearing on news feeds for Android Google product. This list includes conservative and progressive websites such as Newsbusters, Media Matters, and MediaMatters.org. Media Matters is very far left. They're an activist group. They're blocked. Newsbusters, I believe, is a much more right-wing site. The document says that some sites are listed with or because of a high block user rate. Now, I was looking that up, and the only way I can see is that basically if you block it, like on some of my phone and some other things, I have CNN blocked, I have MSNBC blocked, just because they're always touting stuff that I just don't believe. Want to show this here. This is one of the things where they say work in progress, fringe ranking classifier, defining channel quality. Now, channel quality apparently has little to nothing to do with the relatability or the information given. It's strictly a grade based on what Google wants you to see and get. New site rank from web search based on fringe query classifier, rater based classifier to directly grade channel quality example. This is what Google is trying to rate stuff, to limit what you see or to arrange what you see. Wall Street Journal 8.5, ABC News 8.7, PBS NewsHour 7.9, CBS, which I've done a lot of videos on CBS, they present quite often very false stories, very simple narratives. They will take a company they own, such as CNET, and use CNET as an outside source to promote CNET on CBS, going after the people who are directly competing with CNET. I've seen full-on stories where they've completely evaded the actual topic, built up their false narrative, their straw man, and then went after that instead of actually engaging with the conversation. Quite a bit of stuff there that I would disagree with on that. CNN, everybody knows CNN is failing in the ratings, having given up most of their journalistic integrity to essentially try and give you only opinion, no actual news, very little in responsible journalism, just, you know, everything else. And it's kind of interesting to see in the last couple days, Don Lemon has call it credible, because apparently someone, the person who is suing him, Don's group apparently reached out to them with a 6-figure settlement, and the person decided they wanted 7, which, just so you know, lawsuits don't make you rich. If you receive if someone offers you a 6-figure settlement and you could use the money, take it. My opinion only. MSNBC, or Russiagate News, which is basically 24/7 conspiracy theories these days. Fox News, again, they got like 2 shows that are worth watching. The rest are kind of bad. RT, you know, biased news. Breitbart News, biased news. Philip Trenko, a YouTuber, making the cut. HuffPo, very biased. Young Turks, extremely biased. Progressive Channel. Alex Jones, negative. Next News Network, a more right-wing news source, very small compared to Fox News, and you notice they get a negative 3.35, lower than Alex Jones, who's essentially banned who's banned from all social media platforms and really only has his own website. Found that very interesting. Now, go to the Project Veritas website, see this stuff yourself, and this is the infamous blacklist they were talking about. I pulled this up and was going through, picking different things, newsbusters. Some of this is news, some of this is comedy. You know, they've got a thing on Trevor Noah. They got a thing on New York Times demotes deputy DC editor for upsetting radical Democrats. New York Times has already had to change article headlines due to far left influence. You know, a lot of this stuff, the Fredo, not sure if that's supposed to be a slur of some kind. I do know it's from The Godfather. Como went off, which is the other thing about CNN. You know, 2 of their main news anchors are going off the rails the further and further into the cycle they get. They have dove into this far left conspiracy, and they are just rolling in it, and it is driving them insane. You see here the Veritas news story. So, you know, newsbusters, whether or not they can be trusted is one thing. But, you know, it is what it is. Now, I was dropping some of these things in here because you'll see all kinds of stuff. Christian Times newspaper, girls just want to have guns, conservative spirit, Daily Caller, Louder with Crowder was in here, Christian Post, Top Right News, American News. All these different things are blocked from appearing. Patriot News organizations, Catholic news agents, and some of these, I found it funny. I was taking a few of these, just copy. Oh, I don't even have to copy. And clicking on them to get them to go to the site. You'll see loading, loading, loading. There it goes. Pops up. I tried this with a few, and some of them wouldn't load at all, which brings me to what I was showing here. This is Firefox, completely separate, you know, browser than Chrome, which is what I normally use. I got heat notifications. This one, westernjournal.com, Conservative Tribune, didn't pull up, and the Girls Just Want to Have Guns website. I don't know. I hate the idea of conspiracy theories, but I don't think that you can consider Google flaunting its authoritarian power a conspiracy theory. Google is doing this. We know it's doing this. It's very easy to see it's doing this, and that's it. Google needs to be taken down. Something needs to happen. That's it. But go check out the full video of Project Veritas. If you want, please support them. They are bringing out the stuff from Google. They've already done Twitter, not Twitter, Pinterest, YouTube, Google, All these major sites, they've shown what they're doing. They keep showing what they're doing, and mainstream media keeps skirting around and trying to just say lies about this. So I would say Google, yes, they are trying to stop you from hearing these types of things. Thank you all for listening. Hope you have a wonderful day.